Social distancing practices are the new norm in Allen County jury trials. Court officials today kept jurors spread apart for the trial of a Fort Wayne man accused of murder and other serious offenses.
Jeff Neumeier is live with more on the court case and the efforts to navigate court challenges related to the pandemic.
Yeah, Brian, Krista, a 12-person jury hearing testimony in the trial of 24-year-old James Lee Paul. But as is standard procedure now, they were all spread out in the courtroom gallery, not in the jury box. James Lee Paul is charged with 2 counts of murder, 2 counts of felony murder, and attempted robbery. Back in February of last year, police say Paul was present, armed with a gun, and fired shots inside a home on Barnhart Avenue where a triple shooting went down. In court today, autopsy photos were displayed to jurors showing a fatal bullet wound to the head of 23-year-old Brooke Wendell and a gunshot wound to the chest of 21-year-old Mong Ong, who also died at the house. Cha Lang months ago pleaded guilty to pulling the trigger, saying he went to the Barnhart address with a plan to rob one of the victims and just opened fire. Lang, who got 130 years, said James Lee Paul and Kerwins Lewis were with him, but were under the impression they were simply there for a drug deal. However, Meng Kem, who was also shot during the incident but survived, testified in court today that all 3 suspects stormed into the house with guns in hand and opened fire on the victims. The evidence introduced came from witnesses seated in the jury box. The jurors listened from seats in the area normally reserved for spectators. The CDC has relaxed mask-wearing guidance since so many people now have their COVID-19 shots, and because of that, jurors and others in Allen County Court no longer have to mask up. But jurors in trials are still being kept 6 feet apart in the gallery, while family members of the defendant and victims must watch from seats in the back. Judge Fran Gall says court officials are getting feedback from jurors that they like the social distancing practices, though a friend of murder victim Brooke Wendell says the situation is not easy for spectators.
We are getting some pushback, and that's understandable. I mean, it's my loved one's trial that's going on. Whether they're a defendant's family or a victim's family or a survivor's family, they want to be in there to see what's going on. So we've tried to make as much accommodation as we can in the back of the courtroom. But as you know, the back well of the courtroom isn't, it's a finite space.
So far, they haven't turned anyone down coming in. So it's a little bit different than back in February when the murder first happened. We were only allowed to have I think the parents of the victims were allowed in, and then further on they started allowing more and more people in.
Now, we also note that English is not the first language of the defendant in this current trial, and that Haitian Creole interpreters are helping him follow testimony. That's what's happening in court. The trial under social distancing, Brian and Krista, it will be set to continue then tomorrow. Back to you.
And we will follow it tomorrow. Jeff, thank you.